Okay, so here we are in the Great White North. I think it's about 10 degrees. However, I don't even feel the cold when I look at this great motor. I really want to take it up to the original beauty that it had, especially the way it's showcased and the way the bonnet lifts this direction. You just get to see all the details. However, on an engine this old, it's vitally important that you don't ever directly spray any of the engine parts. And so cleaning it can be kind of tricky. The big thing here is you want to pre-treat the engine so it lifts the dirt up, and then we will spray it gently and lift up all the loose stuff, and then come back and hit it with a little instant detailer and let it come together and dry it off. So let's get started with a pre-treat, then we're going to wash it down, we're going to detail it, and then put it back together, and I think this engine's going to look fantastic when we're done. Now, you never want to spray directly into any of the openings, naturally. A lot of it is common sense, but engines this old, you need to go that extra step to be careful, just to make sure. So we're going to get all the parts. Let them soak for a couple minutes while I go get the sprayer, and then we're going to hit it gently and come back and dry it down. Here we go. So now that we've got the motor all cleaned and we've rinsed it off, what we love to do is come back and put a drying agent on it. If you do this with your engines, as they dry off, all the rubbers and plastics come out looking like brand new. And it really makes a big difference in the overall appearance. So what we like to do is come in, spray down the plastics, let them sit for a couple of minutes, and then come back and wipe them clean. And even if you don't wipe them off, you can just let it dry on there, actually, we found. And when you open the hood the next time, you're amazed at how great the plastic looks and all the rubber hoses. So let's get back to the warm studio, and I think you're gonna love seeing this engine when we're done with it. And go from there.
Wow, burning the candle both ends. Look at this. Oh, this is right where I left you last night.
Well, you know how excited I get about new products, and ever since we came up with the concept of an interior detailer that was controllable, that didn't have overspray, man, this is really going the right direction, and I'm loving what it's doing.
So what does it work on? Is it just vinyls, or?
No, it literally will protect and restore just about any surface I've used it on so far. Laminated woods, leather, vinyl. Man, it's just amazing stuff. And what's so great is I have full control over where I put it. And if I want to break down the shine a little bit, knock her down to a more factory finish, I'm in full control again. And I know that that surface is healthy and well protected. Really is good stuff.
Well, let me use it on the interior. I'm just about to get started on that. So, do you have an extra tin on you?
Oh, I just happen to carry one for such occasions.
Okay.
All right.
Well, let's get started.
I'm excited to see how it turns out.
Okay. So, I mentioned this in every single detail video that we do. It's all about the little details, and especially with a transformation like this, from farm to fabulous, it's important to go through and make sure that everything is perfect. Now, the gear shift indicator here and the gear shift indicator needle was all oxidized. So I've gone through and we painted that red to make that look fantastic. And we'll put that in, you'll see how much better that looks here. And then one thing that we're doing as well is that you wouldn't think that screws are really something that you need to pay attention to, but they are key. And so you can see all of these screws here are rusted. I'm gonna go through and clean those, paint those black, and we should be looking fabulous in no time.
So when you're doing a transformation like the C4 and the car's 30 years old, you're gonna constantly run across little imperfections that you just gotta be creative in how you go about approaching them. Now, with this car, we could have gone and bought new dash panels very easily, but our budget was so limited, we decided, how do we get back to that original look and not blow the budget out of the water? So we thought about possibly wrapping them, but it really wasn't period appropriate. You just wouldn't see that in a 30-year-old car. We tried painting some of the panels, but the micro scratches just came right through the paint and we got different coloration, and we didn't like that as well. So we went back to an old friend of ours. You've probably seen this in past episodes, use Plasti Dip. But I gotta tell you, this stuff is phenomenal. We can go through and hit just about any surface, and with a few coats, the rubber goes in and fills out all the imperfections. And the great thing is we found as long as we don't go crazy, we can spray it right on the vents and it doesn't affect the motion at all, and they still move nice and easily. So with the weather being as cold as it is outside, this is a process that is best done in a controlled environment. So what I'm gonna do here is just show you the steps that we go through in order to make this plastic look new. We always start out with a little isopropyl alcohol. We pour it into the cloth, and then we go through and we clean up the panels, removing all the oils and greases that may stop this rubber from sticking and adhering permanently on the surface. And once we're done cleaning and we allow the alcohol to flash off, we're gonna come through and put a light coat of the Plasti Dip across the entire surface. We let it flash off for about 20 minutes, and then we come back and add another coat. Now the panels you saw Josh working with, they look flawless, and that was 4 coats of this product. And the great thing is you can stack it as much as you want, and it just continues to lay flat and take care of all the imperfections. So when it comes to transforming a car, you can either spend a ton of money or you can use some creativity. And in this case, the creativity paid off big time, because when you see the inside of this car finished, you're gonna have a tough time telling it from when it rolled off the factory assembly line in Kentucky. And we're gonna finish up now and go back to putting the panels in.
Okay, so we made it into the interior. And I have to be honest with you, it's been a ton of work, but I can just picture myself on the open road, Bill sitting next to me. He's got his drink in the drink holder, holding on for dear life because he's a little scared of how fast I'm going. And the car's shaking probably a little bit because it's a little bit older. But let's get back down to business. What we've done here is we've gone through and we've Plasti Dipped the dash panels. And they're starting to look so good. We've gotten rid of all the micro scratches. We've added a couple little details like the Corvette logo on here, and it looks so much better. And now what we're going to do is I'm gonna go through, I'm gonna hyper cleanse the dash. We're gonna make sure that it looks fantastic for the ultimate transformation for YouTube. So let's do it. Now the worst part about this is every single time I start the car, dust just shoots all over the dash. So it'll be nice to kind of clean it up here a little bit, and then we're gonna go through and use that balm that Bill's been talking about for the interior, and we'll see how it actually is, because you know how excited he gets sometimes. So I'm gonna finish this up and we'll come back and show the balm. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I've gone through and I've cleaned the dash here with the hyper cleanse. Now I'm going to use a small section so we can see exactly what is going on as far as if this stuff actually works, which we all know how much I hate to tell Bill that he's right, but right off the bat, you can tell that it goes on super smooth. It's super controllable, so I'm not having any overspray on the windshield or anything like that, and I can get right into the crevices of the dash here. Now, the other aspect is the control of the product, but also I can go in and I can control how much sheen or shine is gonna be. Now, I'm more of a shine guy, and if you've watched our series, you know how much I like shine, but let's just take down that shine a little bit and see how it turns out. And wow, it looks fantastic. But let's keep that between me and you guys because I don't need Bill to get a big head. You can tell a major difference. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up. Let's shoot it over to Bill and see what he has for us.
Okay, so when you decide to adopt a 34-year-old sports car, you're going to run into some issues no matter what. And after that much time of top-down driving and UV rays, all the surfaces tend to get a little bit faded and burned. And so what we wanted to do was go through and not leave any stone unturned in this transformation. So we are going to pull the door panels off and we're going to show you how to restore them. Now, once again, just like our dash panels, we could have gone and just bought new ones. And that's justifiable. It's a great car with low mileage. However, once again, it's about being creative and staying within the parameters of a budget. So I'm going to show you how we take these door panels off and what we do to transform them to look better than new when we're done. So the one thing you want to remember is cars this old, the parts are brittle and you have to be very careful about taking them off. So we like to use our detailer tool and our emblem pry, and we'll come through and we'll pop these low pieces out. And you have to be careful because once again, that plastic is quite brittle and we pop them out of place like this. Now, that wasn't that careful. We got one out of the way. We've gone through and we've removed the screws off camera to make this panel easy to take off. And you can just see the dirt and the grime that's built up behind here. But as we take the panel off, we want to be very careful in how we do it. Now this is the part where I like to come around and I use my phone. And I will go through and take pictures of everything as I take it apart so I can remember where I'm going and how I'm going to get back to where I started. Now all the connections, we want to make sure that we know exactly where they go because door panels, as simple as they are, they can be a real bear. So we've got the panel off. Now let's move over to the work table and I'm going to show you how we're going to recolor this and re-dye it, and it's going to look like $1,000,000. Okay, now that we have our panel all taken apart, we've got our screws set aside so we know where they go back in place. We're going to go through and continue to take the parts off of this so we can re-dye the panel and bring it back to its original red color. And we also, as you saw in the earlier episode, bought a carpet kit. So once we're off camera, we'll peel this carpet off and replace it. We decided to go with a black to contrast with the red and really make this whole thing pop. I think you're going to like it when we're done. The start to this whole process though is a clean surface. We're going to go through with our isopropyl alcohol and we're going to wipe down the entire surface to make sure there's no oils or residues across the panel that might stop our dye from sticking, because we do want this to be permanent. Now as that's flashing off, what we do is we take an adhesion promoter and we will spray this panel and let it dry. And what that's going to do is make a bond between our dye and the panel, so as you're getting in and out of the car, your watch doesn't scratch off the dye and it looks terrible after a few weeks. We want this to last for years, and it will if it's done correctly. That's what's so great about it. Once the adhesion promoter is dried, we're going to take our red, mask off all the parts, and come through and redo this whole part. Now what I've done is decided to freestyle a little. We're going to come through and we're going to refinish this in black. But I think to go with the black carpet, I want to do the door handle in black as well. And let's carry in a little bit of color here. I think it's too monotone and way too much red going on. So let's give that a try, and when we come back, we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, while the other panels are drying in the booth, I got so excited I really couldn't help myself but to show everybody a small preview of what these efforts have brought forth. And if you look at the door panel that we completed last week, you're going to have to admit that that thing really came to life. The colors are vibrant again, it looks new, and the whole interior has a different feel to it. Now, we went through dyed this red. We have our black carpet kit, and we kept this black. But if you remember, we decided that we wanted to go the door handle in black as well. And I think you're gonna have to agree. That made a big difference in how the whole thing is presented. And you can also see how sunburned and red and dark this got over its original color, which is this. And so I think when we're done, you're gonna have to look at this and say, that is one great transformation of a C4. And when you consider we did it for under $2,000, wow, that could be the best transformation of all times. And I'm just so excited. Let's go get finished and get this car done. So this morning I come into the studio and they're cleaning up all the mess from our transformation. And it occurred to me just how much stuff we'd taken out of this car. And I gotta tell you, Corvettes are not known to have spacious cockpits. They're pretty cozy. But as I saw this pile of parts and garbage and the things that we had done to this car, it made me realize that maybe we don't want to throw it out. Let's record it and show everybody what really goes into doing a transformation of a 34-year-old car. I mean, this stuff is gross. That's just gonna make you appreciate what the cockpit looks like when we're complete. And you're gonna absolutely love everything that happened to this car. And so, there you go, the lithium garbage pile.
Wow.
Exactly.
That transformation was incredible on that Corvette. I cannot believe, I honestly think it's one of the best transformations on YouTube.
Well, I think you're right. However, I think you really have a good argument there as long as we do the math and add them together. I mean, that car literally looks like brand new.
From farm to fabulous?
Whoa, I like your style. However, if we went through, we could make any car look like brand new, but to do it on a budget like we did, that's where you don't substitute creativity for dollars. Yeah, we could have just thrown money at it and Steve would have had a cow.
But I will give you this. I'm usually the guy who's like, we went over budget. But this time, Steve comes in, sees the car, and he's just clearing the car. Every single time I'm going to buy something, he's like, yep, let's do it.
Yeah.
So it was the first time that that's ever happened. So thank you, Steve.
Yes, when he first saw the plan on the board, he was a little skeptical. But afterwards, I think everyone in the office started seeing it day by day, just getting better and better. We got more excited about it. So if we go back, and let's say to the Billy Matrix, I think we pointed out that you really can't tie dollars spent on satisfaction because that car was enormously difficult, but enormously satisfying at the same time. I really enjoyed every step and every brainstorming session we had of how we were going to take this piece with no money and make it look better than it did when it was new.
Yeah.
And you can spend $400,000 on a Ferrari, which may be a better investment. However, I think you'll attest after last weekend, you're not going to get $400,000 more enjoyment out of driving.
No, I mean, I went out last weekend. It was so much fun. I had the top down, a little cold, but overall, it was a blast to drive, and I cannot believe that we found that on a farm. I was just flabbergasted by that.
Yeah. Had we have found it in a barn, we would have been famous. But it was in a field, so we're going to take what we can get. But let's go over the budget now and let everyone know how we ended up on this car.
Okay, so $4,000 for the car.
$4,000 for the car. We spent $275 on the seats. Then we spent $375 on the carpet, which was more expensive than I thought.
Yeah.
And
but
then
the biggest expense was the tires and the
tires
rims.
and the wheels.
Yeah.
And they were still a great deal though. I think we're into those all day, $1,100 because we bought the rims used.
Yeah.
And then we had the steering wheel, which was not a big investment, about $160. But that really kind of changed things over for me.
Looks so good.
Yeah, it looked brand new.
It looks so good.
And so we put all that together. We're into the car with oil changes and all the fluid changes, about $6,200. And I'll bet you the car books out at 95 to 11 when we're done.
Well, 70,000 miles?
Yeah.
You can't
go wrong.
find a Corvette these days for 1988 like that has 70,000 miles.
Yeah, or a car.
Yeah.
So, I mean, It's going to be fun. We're going to see what we want to do with it. May not sell it. I don't.
Classic. We're gonna have to have that conversation off camera. Every car that we get, but especially this one for Bill, is most likely gonna try to keep it.
Yeah, you know me too well. But I think maybe we'll let the viewers vote, because I got to tell you, when they see the finished product, let's see what they do.
Yeah, let us know what you guys think. Make sure to comment. Make sure to subscribe. Like the video. Hit that bell button. And giveaway.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So we used the balm.
And your thoughts?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Especially the fact that you can control how much shine you want on it. It was very controllable compared to an interior detailer.
Yeah. Well, you'd made the joke that I'd been here all night playing with the stuff, but it just goes on like butter.
Yeah.
I mean, and you and I both know our objective here is not shine, but to make the surface healthy.
Yeah.
And the ingredients in that, I don't care where you put it. It would have to be healthier when it was done.
Yeah.
It's a great product. It might have some tweaks or whatever, but I say we do give away 12 cans of it. Let people tell us, because you and I are the only ones who have ever used it.
Yeah.
And we really need to get some outside opinion on it.
Okay.
And that's what's fun about this show. So if you make a comment, mention that you want some balm, we'll send it your way, and you tell us what you think.
Once we throw them into the randomizer and pick out 12 people.
Indeed.
So then again, make sure, like, subscribe, share, hit that bell for alerts. And we've got some really exciting stuff coming up for season 2.
Oh, yeah. That was a tough episode to follow, but can I just say, World Guinness Book of Records for the ultimate gloss meter shine.
Well, let's not give away too much.
We are going to set a new record, and I think people are going to love this car. So,
okay, well, make sure to tune in, guys, to the next episode of Detail and Bell.
Let's do it. I'm going to go drive that car.
I know you are.
Do you have the keys? Okay, it is the best transformation ever done.